Okay, so here we are back in Blender, and now we're going to be showing you how to set up morph targets on the character. That way you can do things like animate the face or do other things like that if you want to do a variety of different activities on the actual mesh of the model. So what we need to do, it's not too bad. We're just going to go ahead and take our model rigged here. I'm just going to hit quick Control S to save it, Control Shift S plus, and we'll make this the fourth one. That way we have a new little model to work on. I'm going to click on the mesh of the model, and we're just going to move this around a little bit so we have some more room to work with. Let's close this down. And we want to create shape keys for the model. Basically, that's going to make it so we'll have a blending between two different positions of vertices on the model. And by blending between those two different vertices positions, we can create animation. So basically, the first thing is you go to you select the object and just hit plus. That'll allow you to create a basis. So this is what does everything look like with no modification, so it has a reference. Cool. Now let's add another one, and we'll call this head. Let's say head expand, and we'll set the value up to 1. And we can put this on. That'll allow you to edit in edit mode, and just make it easier. So in head expand, what you could really what we're going to do is just make the head grow a little bit, and that way it'll be a good, easy indicator of what's going on. But if you had a face, it could be like an eyebrow up, or an eyebrow down, or like a smile, or a grin, or a frown, anything like that. Or you could do like, you know, if it had like spikes or like horns that came out of their body, anything like that, you can do with this animation process, just to be aware. So let's just grab the head. I'm going to put it under, let's say, proportional editing. I hit O. I have under, I think it's just root. And I'll just grab this, and we'll just make it scale up a little bit. And we'll expand it to there. Oh, actually, let's just grab these. Scale them to there. And that's about good. So you see I've moved some verts while I clicked on the head expand mode. So now if I deselect these and go to tab, you can see it expands the head, and by moving this little slider we can have a little animation play, something specific. Like I said, you could have spikes come out the back, you could have horns grow, you could have a guy wink, smile, anything like that. You can do it with this. So you just move the verts around while selected on to where you want it to make an expression, and then you have it there. Cool. So now we have head expand there as a morph target. Let's go ahead and just grab the whole model, and we'll do another test, and I'll show you how to import morph targets into UE4. So we'll go to File. Actually, we'll save this first. Control S, save. File, Export FBX. And we're going to use the same preset we had from before. Blender to game engine, no animation. That's one we made. Of course, that's only the selected objects, scale 1. All these are the same. Armature mesh and other. Geometries, no applying of modifiers, because if you look here, it prevents the exporting of shape keys. Smoothing set the face. Armature is the deform bone only, no leaf bones. Armature FBX is set the root. We also have Vernocchi's exporter applied. You just download this or read what he has to say. I think there's, if you watch the previous video, it'll show you how to do this, and that'll allow you to export from FBX without having an extra root bone, which is important. And once you've got that set up, all this export is correct. We don't want any animation. We can go ahead and just click on Model Rigged Export, which is the same one we had from last time. And I'm just going to make it Model Rigged Export. We'll do with Morph. Maybe we'll make this 0.1 is fine. With Morph. And now this will export with our morph animation. Let's see if it works in UE4. So I've just got an empty project here with our previous model, previous guy from the last video. Let's go ahead and delete him out. Delete him out of the scene, delete him out of right here. We won't worry about that. Delete the material. And let's go ahead and import him in right now. So model rigged export with morph. We got all that. The only difference here really is you want to make sure that import morph targets is clicked. And that should be pretty good. Just make sure your settings match these, and we should be all set. Let's see what happens. Hit save to save the scene, and we'll see if the morph target was correctly brought in. And it was. Great. So you see up here, head expand under the mesh tab. The head expands. When you do that, you'll see it'll switch to this because it'll realize it's a morphing animation, and it needs to actually have a special type of material. And you can see it actually lets you go negative. It applies them in reverse. But yeah, there you go. You got a head that expands inside the engine, and now you can link this to code however you want. There's some basic other stuff you can do with it. But yeah, you got a morph target in engine, and it works just like that. Okay, so let me show you how to hook it up in code in the engine. That way you can see it running in the actual game itself. So let's go ahead and just close this. And we'll go in here, and what I'll do is we'll go ahead and just drag this into the scene. And let's see, we'll go to Open Level Blueprint, and inside of here we can right click and do Begin or Event on Begin, sorry, just do Begin, Event Begin Play, right there. And now since we're selected, oops, let me quit out of that, there we go. Since we're selected on the character, if we right click in here, it'll let us give a reference to it. That's what we want. We want a reference to that specific guy. We can drag over from here and type in Morph Target, and you see it set right there, Set Morph Target. And now if I drag this out, plug in the execution pin, it's asking for the name of the morph target, which you can find right here, which is head expand, as we created earlier. We'll just do head expand, and you can drive the value right here, 0 to 1. So in our case, you know, you could plug in time, you could plug in a value that flips around, anything you want to drive this. But we'll just set it to you know, full expansion. That way we can see if it works in the level. Go ahead and save that. We'll go back to the editor here. Maybe we'll just kind of close out of this for now. Minimize that, and let's see what happens. If you see there, its head is very large, so you know that the tool is working correctly, and that's how you do morph targets in UE4. So let me just go back to here for a second, and yeah, that's basically all you need. You just need this set up like that and bring in the morph targets, and that's how you can drive them directly through code. And then once you're done here, you can just kind of delete those out, since we won't be using those in the next tutorial. Just a heads up. With Unity, it's a little bit of a different process, but almost exactly the same. So let's go ahead and just jump right through the steps and do that. So we've got our file still exported from Blender from, you know, here. Let's go ahead and just do that right now. So we'll open up Unity, and we've got our other model in here. We don't really need that guy for this. Let's go ahead and just delete that stuff out of here, and we'll go into Import New Asset and Model Rigged Export with Morph. Simple. This is just a new empty project that we had before. And you can set this up, you know, go to Humanoid, Apply, and should configure correctly because it did before. Import animation off and hit apply, and then go to model, and everything looks good there. Let's go ahead and just drag the model into the scene, and I'll just set it to 0, 0, 0. That way we have a basic area to work with. Maybe we'll put a light in, that way we can see what we're doing. Okay, and now if you click on the model, nothing will show up really, and then if you click on body, however, you see blend shapes. Head expand, there you go. So now you can control this directly in code, and you can make this animate however you'd like. So that's how to do blend shapes or morph targets into UE4 and Unity. So that's pretty much it. So now, in the next tutorial, we're going to be focusing on how to create an animation. And we're going to create an animation in Blender with head expands and maybe like a leg moves, and we're going to import them both as one final animation. So it'll have a morph target animating, and it'll have leg motion. So you have both bone animation and morph target blend shape animation in one. And then after that, I'll show you how to do independent animation for each and combine them in the engine. So with that, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.